This one simple advice is going to revolutionize the way that you view the expenses of buying food. Hello there, my dear children of the apocalypse. How are you doing today? Welcome back to the 52 weeks of self-improvement, and welcome to everything about chicken breasts, or chicken titties, I like to call them. I don't know if you remember, but at the very beginning of the year, in fact in the very first week of the year when I started this series, I spoke about the importance of bulking and how every single man out there should be doing it. You should be eating more protein, you should be gaining muscle, you should be exercising, and you should be making sure that a strong body is created so that you can have a strong mind. And one of the biggest problems of bulking up is that you need to eat sufficient amounts of protein. And protein isn't hard to come by, but it can be expensive. If you were to go out there for steak every single day, or if you go to restaurants, if you keep ordering food on Volt because you're too lazy to cook for yourself, you're throwing copious amounts of money down the drain or out the window or wherever else, because you're getting smaller portions, you're not actually getting sufficient amounts of different macro and sometimes also micronutrients. And I think the amount of cost that goes through is never going to relate to the quality of the food that you could prepare if you're preparing it at home. Now, whether or not one of the future episodes will include the process of actually meal prepping, let me know. If you're interested, I'll put it in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to get that into the... So when it comes to getting access to protein, I think the majority of people get it from one source, and that source is chicken. And if you look at a chicken, the item, we say the part of the chicken that has the biggest amount of protein and where we have the smallest amount of fat, the smallest amount of skin, or the ability to in fact remove both of them, are the chicken breasts. The problem is that still meat is quite expensive, and if you go out there and buy pre-packaged, pre-chopped up chicken breasts, that's going to actually set you back quite a lot of money. So what I actually used to do in the past 5 years, I used to buy whole chickens, and being that I was working as a cook, I find it quite easy to actually take a whole chicken and just dissect it into the individual parts, freeze them, and then suddenly you have wings, you have breasts, you have thighs, you have drumsticks, and you also have the actual carcass, which you can use for soup. And so essentially using this process of buying whole chickens, tearing them down, you're saving up on money, but you're also gaining on various different parts. You're also learning a little bit about different parts of the actual animal. And I think in turn you respect it a bit more, because you do go through the process of cooking yourself a nice soup, or maybe you can make it into a thick sauce or a jus, and you can put it into the freezer. And there's so many options, from deep frying it to giving it to your mate because he only eats chicken wings or whatever. You have a vast variety of options. But if we want to get serious about it, and we're going to say, okay, let's do a schedule, for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months, let's get a meal prep going. I want to eat massive amounts of protein, then the way to go is chicken breast. Now, the problem here is that they can still be quite expensive. The prepackaged meat has ludicrous costs. And so what I used to do is I'd go to the deli and I would look at the meat section, and what they would have is a couple of discounted items on beef, a couple of discounted items on pork, and a couple of discounted items on poultry. And I was looking for two in particular. I was looking for chicken breasts and I was looking for turkey breasts. And so what I used to start doing is I'd just tell the guy, hey, have you got any more in the bag? And he actually jumped and he brought out massive packets, 2.5, 5 kilos of these chicken breasts. And I buy them all, right? I think at some point I got 12 kilograms of chicken breasts for just 82 euros. Right now, 82 euros might sound like a lot, but these days you go to a supermarket just to buy a couple of things you don't even need, and you're up to 50, 60 euros. So for me, 82 euros, right, for 12 kilograms of chicken is an extremely good deal. In fact, to put it into perspective, one of my favorite pizza places where I live, the pizza ranges from between 12.5 to 15 euros for one pizza. So essentially, in this case, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Would you rather have 5 good pizzas or 12 kilograms of chicken titties? Because to me, it's obvious I'm taking the titties, my dude. You see, it wasn't until about that moment that I realized just how overpriced everything is. If I buy or order a Caesar salad, right, what I'm going to get is I'm going to get some salad, which is very cheap. I'm going to get some chicken on top, usually maybe 100, maybe 150 grams of chicken. Which in terms of money is 1/10 of a kilogram, right? And I know I can get chicken tits for about €6 a kilogram right, as a solid price, which means what I'm actually getting here is I'm getting 60 cents of chicken, right? Less than €1 of chicken on a portion of a salad with some vinaigrette and some cheese and, whatever cherry tomatoes are going to put on there. And the whole cost of that is like €15. And I realize how scammy it is. But it's not even the price that bothers me, is that I'm only getting 100 to 150 grams of chicken, when in reality, I know that for my body weight, for the amount of exercise I do, right, for my goals, for my gains, I need to consume upwards of 400 to 500 grams. So I'd have to have 5 of those salads. And at that point, I've spent more on the salads for one meal than I've spent on 12 kilograms of chicken, which I will use for another month to 2 of consumption. The point of this video, weird as it might sound, is that from today point on, I would like you, whenever you're buying food, if it is food that you're buying in a restaurant, in a supermarket, whatever the context might be, calculate it in the price of chicken breasts. In fact, if I have enough time, at some point I will create an Excel spreadsheet of sorts where you will have everything expressed not just in the price of it, right? Like this bottle of Coca-Cola costs X amount of chicken breasts, just to give you the context. Because I always want to be thinking in the sense, okay, so I'm going to be eating this, right, burger or eating this pizza. Okay, what am I getting from it? What's the nutrient intake that I'm actually paying for? And how much would that cost if I just bought chicken breasts and made them with some plain rice and broccoli, like a classic fitness guru, and just consume that? Obviously the burger, the Coca-Cola bottle, the pizza, whatever it might be, could very well be extremely delicious, right? And you're paying for the experience. You go to sit in a restaurant, have a beer with your friends, have a glass of wine with your date. But not everything with food has to be an experience. Not everything that we eat is eaten purely for the pleasure, right, of our taste buds. A lot of the times we eat food because we're hungry, because our body needs the nutrition. And when it comes to bulking up, unfortunately, a lot of the times you have to look through the pleasure of eating and actually force yourself just a little bit to gain space in your stomach, to gain muscle in your body, to eventually gain confidence in yourself and actual and real attainable strength. So really, from the bottom of my heart, try it out. Maybe just for a week, right? But calculate the food you've spent every time you order from Uber Eats or Volt or Glovo or Foodora or whatever the hell you've got. The next time you want to go to a Chinese takeaway, the next time you think about, jumping into your car and doing a McDonald's drive-through, calculate it to the cost of raw chicken breasts. And I think eventually you'll realize that the cost of performance is just out of this world. And there's no way in hell I can ever go back to thinking about food the same way that I did before. Trust me, one try, you'll never regret it. This is the way to get up there with a bulking gain, with a mass, and also not destroying your wallet in the process. Take care and safe line.